Good morning. Welcome to the Round Pen Revival here at JT Ranch. I'm Tereesa Wentland.
I'm Dani, Lyman.
And we're excited to share with you today, why are we here? Why did we choose the Round Pen Revival podcast? And what is on our hearts today? So Dani and I are just going to have a discussion. We're going to share with you a little bit about what God is calling us to do here at JT Ranch. We are on a mission to develop people as well as writers. We've been on that mission for 25 years, and we feel like right now is the time for change. No longer to be timid in this world of heartache and discontent, but to be bold in our faith, bold in the things that God is calling us to do, and bold in leadership and mentorship. Dani?
We wanted to start out by sharing why a round pen revival. We're in the round pen right now, and what we're seeing is a lot of creative action from God right now thrust into our laps, and ways that we can use our round pen and our horsemanship to bring revival into the world. There's a lot of stuff that drags people down and that holds kids back, and adults too, that we see coming through our program. And we've had a lot pushed into our lap, and God has called us out to say, get off your butt and ride for me, be loud for me, be awake for me, and step into what's next. And this is what's next.
Amen. And it's the collaboration of people in the world. So much of the time we're out on this island alone, but realizing that the gift of collaboration, and that when God is calling you to step into what he's calling you to do and be with people that call you to that higher power, that higher, better person. And, I feel like that's what we've been doing for 25 years here at JT Ranch, is calling people out. We develop people as well as writers. And, in the most recent, what's been happening is we've been doing a lot of round penning. We've got 9 colts that are here for training. God, thank you that's a whole miracle story in itself, which we'll share later. But we've spent a lot of time in the round pen. And, the thing about the round pen is it's truth, because horses don't lie. They can't lie. And so they have been showing us the mirrors of ourself, and what we need to do, but also mirroring for our students, our kids, our interns, the areas of their life that they need work on. And, how else can the world know about this if we don't get on here and share? And so I'm super excited for what's going to come out of this podcast, the hearts that are going to be touched, the lives that are going to be changed, and even just, how God is going to use this into the world of horsemen. Because so much of the time, horsemen are very ego-driven, and I can say that from a place of humbleness, because I was that way too a lot of my life, and God has, and I still have it. I'm still a work in progress. But realize that stepping into humbleness and allowing God to open you up in those areas that you need to work and share is where we're at right now. So hopefully we can touch the lives of horsemen out in the world too, to look at how are you using your horses? Are you using them to better the world? Are you using them just to better yourself and get your name out there? And, so much of the time, that's what it's about. And honestly, horses are not a tool. They're a gift. And we at GT Ranch are super grateful for our gifts of our horses and our lesson program. Dani?
I don't know how much else I can add to that besides all of it's for the purpose of God's glory. And if he's not invited into it, it's not going to come to the full extent of its fruition of what he's created it to be. If we're thinking about like how to invite him into the space and what kind of work God can do through horses, like imagine what he could have done if we weren't limiting him. Just like our horses, imagine what they're capable of doing if we're not limiting them. If we're not putting preconceived notions on them, if we're not putting our past traumas on them. And it's the same thing with who God is. We also understand, when you're working with horses, there's a little bit of interpretation, right? Because it's not, if the horse is feeling stressed, I'm feeling stressed. Yes, but you're interpreting that through a fight or flight animal, right? It's not, there's that little bit of understanding between, they don't have those human emotions, right? So things that we create and put on them creates that fight or flight. But the amazing thing with God, and that I was saying that yesterday, is that you can learn all these things in the round pen with a horse. And then when you go and apply that to your relationship with Christ, there's no interpretation. He knows exactly what you're thinking. He knows exactly what you're ready to do. He knows the inner folds of your brain, everything that goes on in there, and he still shows up for a relationship with you and meets you at the gate. I think that's just another in-depth piece that the round pen has taught me, and that like I'm excited to share with other people, because that doesn't come from a place of like, you can't make that up.
No, horses don't lie. The round pen doesn't lie. The way you show up doesn't lie. Because it's the cool thing about horses. It's kind of like somebody puts on a motion picture in front of you when you're working horses, and all of a sudden you see yourself. Sometimes we're so closed off, though, we can't see ourselves in the horse. And that's where we've come in. We're really diving into the philosophy behind our training here at JT Ranch. And the philosophy behind our training is developing people, and using horses, the gift of horses and the healing power of horses, to help people bring out within them their best qualities, and then also be able to see within themselves the things that maybe, Satan is at work in. Right. And because whatever happens out in the arena or the round pen with you and that horse, guess what? That's probably happening with you out in the world too. Right. I mean, that fear, the lack of confidence, the no boundaries, you don't have standards, you don't follow through, you don't show up well, you bring your emotions in and you fall apart at every given moment, or you go into drama or things like that. And you can't bring that with the horse. If you really you want some incredible training with a horse, all that stuff's got to stay at the gate. So I feel like God is just working and showing these young people with the gift of horses, a mirror of what are the things that are holding you back, and how can you be better. And there's no better gift than horses mirroring that, because so much of the time, especially with generational issues and sin, that you cannot see past those things because it's just been a given. Patterns, habits. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So thoughts on that, patterns and habits? Is that
reinforced behavior? If you're thinking about animals, like pressure and release, same way with us. What has kept us safe in the past? What has kept a horse safe in the past? And what are we seeing now that doesn't serve you anymore? Like, first of all, okay, good job for surviving that. Good for you. Same thing for us. But what's next, and what can I let go of that's not going to serve me? It's just like giving to that inside rein. Okay, well, keeping your rib cage, this horse has kept itself alive. It's still here, but now it's time for something new. And what can you let go of to soften into that?
Mic drop. Soften. And that brings me to, that's one of the things within our philosophy that we're really diving into is open, willing, and soft. And how powerful is that? How many of us in the world, and that's the other thing that, in this round pen revival, is it's the openness. The world has created us to be closed. Because if you're open and vulnerable, guess what? You get hurt. Life happens to you. Things hurt you. And so you are no longer willing and soft in your life. And imagine all the things that you're repelling because you're closed. You think about these horses that we go out to ride on a daily basis, and I think about those ones that are open and fun, and you just have the enjoyment and you get on them every single time. I have a warm blood Cimarron, and he is like putty, and I have such a hard time riding any other horse, because after riding him, he's just so soft and he's open and he's willing. And then you get on these quarter horses sometimes that, we've had a lot of students ride, and they're kind of dull and they're closed because they've had to keep themselves safe, as a lesson horse. I mean, they can't be open, willing, and soft all the time because they have a lot of different personalities coming at them. But I love the difference and knowing the difference between open, willing, and soft. And as a human, I think we don't even, what does it feel like to be open, willing, and soft when you've only been closed, resistant, and hard? You can't actually understand what that is. And so basically all the blessings that God has for you and he wants to shower you with, you're repelling versus being open to them because you're resistant and hard.
Or accepting.
Yes.
because God doesn't call us to be in a stagnant place. Even when he calls us to rest or to be still, he still calls us to move forward and accept the courage that he's given you. Because when you're praying for open, willing, and soft, and when you're praying for those blessings, he still calls you to action in all of that. Because you could think prosperity gospel all day long and think all the good stuffs are going to come to you, and you're just waiting. But if you don't put your foot in the stirrup and get up and start the baby horse, you're not going to get it.
Fire, girl.
So,
bring it.
I mean, even still, like, picture Joshua getting ready to go into the promised land. He knew Moses was going to die. Moses knew he wasn't going to go. Be strong, courageous, do not fear is over and over and over in that throughout the Bible. That's just repeated constantly because that's what we're called to be. But Joshua still had to go to war again, over and over. God didn't give that. He said what he promised, and then he told him, do not be afraid, be strong and courageous. And Joshua still had to go forward, and it just wasn't easy, but he was empowered, and he still had to go to war. And that's when the blessings came, when he paired up with God and who he was and trusted that he was going to deliver. And that's what that means, to step in open, willing, and soft, but you're going to war.
Yeah, it's kind of like getting in a parked car and expecting it to go.
I just saw something you can't learn how to drive in a parked car. It's on Instagram.
It's like all of these people, that are like, I've been praying all day long, for all these things, but they haven't showed up at my front door.
Did you open it? Did you even check? Did you open the door?
I know, it's kind of like, gosh, I got these colts and they all need started. 2 years later, I got these colts and they all need started. Oh man, well, did you put your foot in the stirrup? Did you go to the round pen? Did you do your groundwork? Did you get your saddle on? Nope. But they, it's that, and we see this all the time with people. Is just this what is the word? It's a dichotomy of like, I don't want to, I know I want to, but I don't want to, I know I want to, I know I don't want to, and you're just caught up in this pendulum instead of just making the decision and moving forward. And the one thing I can say, Dani, about being in the round pen with a horse is, for goodness sake, you got to make a decision. And if you're waffling and you're being the and I'm not saying that you're not nice when you're training horses, but I'm saying somebody's got to be in charge and somebody has to make the decisions. Otherwise, the horse is put in the position that they have to make the decision, and they're a fight flight animal. And for goodness sake, I don't want to make I don't want them to make the decision when their whole instinct is to run, kick, or bite, or buck. I would rather be the one in charge and make the decision of how the situation's going to go.
I would rather not.
I'd rather not. So, so I think this is just kind of the foundation. Any last thoughts from you, Dani, today?
I think that just encompasses what round pen revival is. It's revival. It's getting ready to embrace what's next. And to do that, you got to be like a horse. You have to be open, willing, and soft to actually do what God's called you to do.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to be raw and real here out at JT Ranch. Dani and I have both walked a lot of paths, and I'm super grateful to be blessed with her in my life. And we're pairing up in this because we believe that God has been calling us to this, to more. And we don't know what's coming out, but we just know, we don't know how, we just know that we're going to be sharing what's on our hearts each week over the next however long we're called to do this. But what I'd encourage you to do today is, if this touched you, if there's something in here that you heard and you thought, man, that really makes sense to me, it was something I needed to hear, or man, there's somebody in my life that I love and care about and this could really touch them, would you please hit the subscribe button there? Would you share our YouTube channel for our podcasts, and be part of the JT Ranch crew too? We have a wonderful Facebook with all the things that are going on in our community here at the ranch. We have so many amazing things happening. We have a colt starting program that's starting up here in the next month. And we've got 5 kids and 5 young horses that are going to be going under saddle. And Dani's heading that up, and super exciting. It's our first time ever. God just opened the door for that, and we're super, super excited for that. This next year, our season will be starting. We have a buckle series. We got all kinds of things happening here at the ranch. But first things first, tune in here with us on this podcast because God is at work and we want to make sure you hear what he's calling for you. God bless you.